So the piano's now installed in the client's house, and we're just doing the first free tuning because it's been restrung. Obviously it's gone out of tune. It's also got a squeak on the sustaining pedal, which is quite serious. I don't know how that happened, but we'll obviously sort that out. So we tried it without the panel on and it's not squeaking. So you can see a little bit of wood there. It's going to be this rubbing against the front panel, something that's never happened before. That's going to be a question of sanding that down a bit. To identify what that was, we put some graphite here on the pedal, and when we moved the panel we found it was touching at that point there, so that's the point that we've got to take down on the panel, I think, rather than on the pedal. So just routed out a bit there. We'll test it again by putting it back in. So we tested it and problem solved. Unusual, never come across that before. So now a noiseless pedal. Unusual. If you ever get noisy pedals, it's much more likely to be graphite in some other place that needs doing, or well, several possibilities, but that's one I've never happened before. We're going to fine tune the piano, and we're going to set the pitch. According to this, it's at 5-2-5. That's about 3 beats sharp, 2 beats sharp. It's 5-2-3.3 normally. So that would be fine. I think that's a good pitch to start with. It should be slightly sharp. It's bound to drop a bit, so that's a good pitch. So let's get going. So get the unisons in. They're pretty good, those unisons. Octave. I'm tuning an upright right-handed, which is not the advised thing to do. Left-handed is advised. I started off wrong, but if you're starting tuning, upright's left-handed, grand's right-handed goes the correct way. So if you look the left-handed, then that's the correct pull down, and grand's is the opposite. So right hand for grands, left hand for uprights. Our tuners are encouraged to do that, but it is better. I've got certain problems with my shoulder over the years. I think it might be to do with that. I might be totally different, but I can recommend starting off the right way. Now it's a new Wrestplank, new tuning pins, quite tight. You can get levers that extend if you find it's too difficult. Well, I've developed a technique over recent years of just hitting it. So you should come down onto it to equalise the tension and then stabilise the tuning. So that's C to G. I'm going to go through this really fast because I've got other tuning videos too. To about okay. You tune the fifths very slightly narrow. This isn't the standard way of tuning, as I've mentioned in another video. Now we're using this machine is for the viewer to look at. We're not using that to tune. I'm narrowing the fifths. Occasionally might look down to check, but normally it's tuned by ear. Before these electronic devices came, of course, we had to use tuning forks all the time. So I'm used to tune with tuning forks. And standard A for the orchestra, A440, we nearly always tune slightly sharp because the piano is going to drop down in pitch. So it's now at A441.5. You might have noticed we haven't resprayed the frame on this. It's just obviously for economy's purposes, but we can respray the frame. But you can see where somebody tried to inject some fluid inside the tuning block before it's changed. But because we've got now new tuning block, obviously it'll be fine for the next 70, 80 years. But if you want, when we restring the piano, we can obviously respray the frame as well. But this one's pretty good anyway, apart from that. Now we finished the scale area from there to there. That's wider than normal scale area, which is from there to there, but I use this extended one. There's explanations in other videos of that. But now I'm going from here up to the top of the treble, and then we'll do the bass. One thing, characteristic of these older Bechsteins is that you get individual strings with almost like not as pure as you'd expect, and that's typical with all Bechstein, uprights and grands. They say that if you replace the bridge cap and you really clean here, then you're going to get a less chorus effect. But from my experience, it doesn't make a difference. We've restrung this piano, and there's still a chorusy effect, so it's not quite in tune. But it's to do with each individual string, because that string isn't pure. To me, that gives some of the characteristic Bechstein's very sweet sound, and it's not a problem having that. But if there's anyone in the trade got any comments on that, it'd be very useful to know. Well, now we've got to the bass section, and I use the wedge for 2 individual strings. It's just economy of time, really. Check the 4th and 5th, octave of course. I'm not looking at the meter here, it's not really relevant, it's much better to use your ears. You could check it with that. If anything, the bass is going to be slightly flattened, either in tune or slightly flat. But the main thing is the 4th and the 5th. And the octaves are satisfactory. There's always a bit of inharmonicity and impurity in bass strings, so it's always a slight compromise. Good 4th, good 5th, and then both these strings done together, we take the wedge out, put it in there, and tune this one, unison, and then the next one. If these are old strings, it's a good idea to bring them down first. If the piano's not been tuned for a long time, these are new strings, not likely to break. And good octaves, good 4ths, good 5ths. Remember, if you're learning to tune, it's the setting of the pin is the most important thing, the equalization of the tension here, tension there. Slight downward movement. Hitting it hard is helpful as well, though don't do that too often. If you tune for the number of years I've tuned for, then you can damage your hearing. Okay, now we tune the whole piano. Let's just listen to, I like to go through it in octaves, showing any discrepancies. Listening hard to the 4ths, the 5ths and the octaves. And a bit of out of tuneness at the top there, which you can correct. Better to check the top notes with the rest of the piano, then we can correct the unisons, or maybe that one's out a bit. So we'll just do those corrections now. So in the client's house, we fine-tuned the piano, sorted out a squeak on the pedal, and done some bits of other minor regulation, and the piano is sounding really sweet. That's the adjective I use for Bechstein Model 5. Really, it's a tone that's very special. You won't get it on a new piano. And round the tenor area, sings beautifully. So you might be asking yourself, is it worth restoring this piano? Because we've done a lot of work. We've done the tuning block, action work. We've also done the case, and so it's not a small amount of work. But the answer is yes. It sounds sweeter than a new piano of the same, that would be the same price for the work that we've done on it. And certainly the cabinet is obviously a lot more special than a new piano. But for a piano, I would rather have this than a new piano. So if you've got a Bechstein Model 5, you may need the tuning block changed. We can assess it for you. We assess pianos in transit as well if you want the piano moved from A to B. If you're on a Model 10, it may not need the tuning block changed. The tuning block doesn't seem to be so problematic with central heating. But whatever your needs are, just get in touch and we'll try and help. Thank you very much for listening.